This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. It's so great to have you joining me here in these online lessons. It's a Theory Thursday where we work on music theory and fretboard theory. I love this sort of thing. I'm so delighted to bring this lesson series to you, right along with all the other series and courses that I have available on this channel. So, in this lesson specifically, we're going to work on the minor pentatonic scale. I love the minor pentatonic scale. Let's just go ahead and dive in. We're going to look at scale forms, but let's start off with a little bit of the theory. So it's got a root, as all scales do. All scales got a root, so do the chords. That's our starting pitch, step one. And then it also has the flatted third, the fourth, the fifth, and the flatted seventh. If we were to compare it to some 7-note scales, ones that we might be familiar with already from this lesson series, like the Dorian mode or the Aeolian mode, we're missing a step 2 or a step 6, with the Dorian mode to be a natural 6, with the Aeolian a flat 6. We're missing those steps. This is a 5-note scale, no step 2, no step 6. So we've got that there, just an FYI. And I'm going to demonstrate these in the key of G as we work through the scale forms. So we got that root, that flat 3, that 4, that 5, that flat 7, and that root. So let's take a look at how we play these on the guitar. If you're completely new to the minor pentatonic scale, you want to start here with number 1. This is the most common way that we play this on the fretboard. And then we've got other ways that we can play it as well, which I'm going to go over. But scale form 1 right here in the key of G. So that means the roots are circled. Wherever we put that note is what we're playing. So if I put that on a G, we're playing a G. C, we're playing a C. E, we're playing an E, and so on. But I'm going to do these in the key of G. So I'm going to stick that then. These notes are going to be at the 3rd fret. And I've got 1, 4, meaning 1, 2, 3, and 4 with my fingers. I've got 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. And we come back down the same way that we went up. So if I play that without talking, we'd have... And like I mentioned, that's the most common way that this gets played, and that's the one to learn first and get familiar with. If you're wanting to know these others, great. Now I'm going to go into how we get other forms. We got 5 forms that we can play this with, and they fill out the entire fretboard. And these forms actually completely overlap with the way we play that Dorian mode and that Aeolian mode. We're just missing those 2 notes, the step 2 and step 6. And I just mentioned that it's kind of a fun overlap if you've been learning all the different modes that we're working on with this lesson series right now. But the way that we get the 5 modes is we take this form right here and we move everything to 1 string higher. So we just shift everything 1 string higher and we get form 2, which I have here. Now I'm going to stick to demonstrating these in the key of G. So I have a G, now my root's on the 5th string. I've got a G at the 10th fret of that 5th string, and I can play through this form. Something important to recognize as we do this. Couple things. 1, when we get to that 2nd string, everything gets moved 1 fret higher. And that's because the tuning difference between the B and the G string compared to all the other strings. So our strings are tuned a perfect 4th apart, that Here Comes the Bride interval, except between the 2nd and 3rd strings. They're only a 3rd. So we're missing 1 fret's worth of space, so we have to shift everything 1 fret higher. So that's why what I played here on string 3 is now 1 fret higher. And then as we continue from there, we keep moving. What was shifted up 1 fret higher here is not going to be 1 fret lower by comparison to where we were. So that's kind of different when we get to those top 2 strings, but it keeps our cognitive function just working hard as we start memorizing these things. That's one thing to recognize. Another thing is as we move them higher, sometimes it's hard to know what's on the lower strings or get familiar with that. It can be helpful to see that whatever is on the top string is also on the bottom string, and then things just continue from there. So that can be a helpful way to sort of associate this in your mind. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one at fret 10 again without talking. So we got that scale form 2 right there, 10th position. To get scale form 3, we just move everything 1 string higher. So I'm on the 4th string and I can play it there. I'm on the 4th string, roots at the 5th fret. And then if I move everything another string higher, we get form 4. So my index finger for G is at the 12th fret. Just like that. And then to get form 5, we move everything 1 fret higher. So my index finger's at the 8th fret on the G. When I said 1 fret higher, what I'm really saying is 1 string higher, moving everything 1 string higher, and then yes, this is on that 2nd string we end up going 1 fret higher. So this is how we get the 5 forms. Now how do they stack up next to each other along the fretboard? I've got that written here. It goes 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. So we just skip over each one, 2, 4, and then we're back to form 1 when we do that. So looking at this in the key of G then, I got scale form 1 here, right there with my root at the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and I've got scale form 1. Then, when I find where that next highest root was, which skip over a string, skip over a fret, and I put my index finger there, I'm with scale form 3. Now, where I finished off with my pinky on that higher root, I can stick my index finger there at the 8th fret for scale form 5. Then, in finding where to go next, if we take our index finger and then go down to the 5th string, 2 frets higher. So when we play that C chord in first position, that C note, those 2 C notes that we play as part of that chord are an octave apart. So it's that same interval fingering happening up here. So with my index finger at the 8th fret, my ring finger then is at the 10th fret, and I can now put my index finger on that root at the 10th fret. And there's scale form 2, and then where my ring finger was at the 12th fret, to play that higher root, I stick my index finger and play scale form 4. And then I can put my pinky up on that high string at the 15th fret, and I'm back to scale form 1, and I could play it from that high string if I wanted. Or I can recognize that's also the same as coming and dropping low to this low string. And that's how they sit next to each other. Now, in my experience, it helps to just work on one at a time and even work on improvising with them. There's a lesson series on the channel, 20 lessons that get you going on improvising in the pop, rock, and blues styles, which is so fun. Using the pentatonic forms, the blues forms, the major pentatonic scale that we worked on in the last lesson, the blues scale that we'll work on in the next lesson, those kinds of things. It works on those with improvising over 18 different jam tracks, 8 for the major pentatonic, 10 for the minor. So, super fun, super cool. You could check that out if you want to be applying this and need help applying this to improvising and just jamming, which is where it's super fun. Now, a great way though to sort of start seeing this, something that can be really helpful, is to look at the single octave forms. So my single octave form here, if I put my index finger on that 3rd fret of the 6th string and I can play just the single octave form. Just that low octave. Now we've seen how this octave can be transferred to each of the different string sets because we've done that just inside of the full positional forms. But if I can just focus on this part here, it can be really helpful to see how to move through these. So if I start with my index finger on that 3rd fret, so I'm still in the key of G. If I play just up that octave, and then where my ring finger is, I put my index and play up that single octave form. Then put my index finger and play. We just had that one piece of the minor pentatonic there. So it becomes really easy. Shift. To shift right through those forms using that single octave. When we get up to here then, if we use that trick of like the C chord trick, that shape, we find our new root and we can do the same thing off that 5th string. So starting with form 2, and then I shift up and put my index finger there and I got form 4. And then if I wanted to, I've got that piece of form 1 on top. So I can shift right between those. Just like that. And actually that shape in and of itself continues. So I could be coming down to that low string, finding those. you can actually play this on one string. You just play the first part, skip over a fret, play it again, skip over 2 frets, and play it again. And so that can help you find how to go between these as well. So, hope that kind of helps. It can help to just see that single octave. You can actually do it with the other form as well, but we move the opposite way. It's a little bit different, but you can see it. If I start with this form, which is at the bottom of form number 4, and I'm up at the 15th fret here, then I can play my single octave, and then I put my ring finger there, and I can play my single octave again. So I have just a piece of it that would come right out of scale form 2 on that high part. So you can do that. You can go down. I could do the same thing off of this string where I'm, and then, so you find your way through them the opposite way. But seeing it this way really helps open this up, I think. So, hope that helps. We've got the minor pentatonic scale, one of the greatest scales to improvise with and have fun with on the guitar. As I mentioned, there is that lesson series where there's 20 lessons on improvising in the pop, rock, and blues styles. And there's also 18 jam tracks to practice over the top of. Lots of tips and tricks for getting this happening in your playing. So, super cool. Hope you are having fun with these lessons. On the next Theory Thursday, so next Thursday we'll be going over the blues scale, which adds an extra note to this, which will be great. Of course, there's lots of lessons. There's over 1,000 lessons already released on the channel, so lots of great ways to get help. And there's the method books. The method books can be really helpful to you with this sort of thing. It's the new edition of the Theory and Technique book, has so much great stuff, so that would be one that would correlate with what's happening here. So you got the method books, another great way of getting help with playing the guitar. Keep having fun, keep at it, take care, and we'll see you again.
If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.